first session of the business tracks. My name's Brian Beck. I hope you all guys all enjoyed the kickoff there. I didn't bring a banjo myself, but it was quite an event. So just wanted to talk a little bit about who we have up here today. We have a really exciting session talking about doubling your revenue in 6 months, which is pretty incredible. I just want to share something about my own story for a second. That's the theme of our conference. I was the former VP of ECommerce at Harbor Freight Tools, and so lived on Magento for several years. And anyway, so I can talk, firsthand a little bit about that experience. I'd love to share that at some point offline. But my role here today is really just to introduce the folks here. So our first panel is about doubling revenue, and Michael Harvey from Coratech will lead us off. And with that, I'll leave it to you, Mike.
Great, thank you. Am I live? Great. So welcome everybody. Thank you, Brian. Brian has been working like a maniac for the last 6 weeks, getting this all ready. And there's so much here that by the end of the conference, I suspect your heads are going to be bursting with information. And the idea is that they should be bursting with information on specific actionable things that you guys can take away and take back to your business. So that's certainly the goal for our session today. We've titled it Doubling Your Revenue in 6 months. So let me get the dreaded show of hands out of the way here. Who feels like they're on track to double their revenue in the next 6 months? Okay, maybe a quarter of you. Okay, who would like to be on track? All right, those of you who didn't put up your hand just now, what's wrong? Okay. Who thinks this is a realistic goal? Double your revenue in 6 months. Okay. So our job in the next 40 minutes or so is to convince you that you can. And we're going to give you, like I say, very specific, very actionable things that you can walk away with and apply in your own business. So just real fast, my name is Michael Harvey. As Brian said, I'm the COO of a company called Coratech. We're a solution provider, a gold Magento partner. We're one of their oldest and most prolific partners. Our business is we provide design, development, strategy, and support for multi-channel and pure-play e-commerce projects. And just real fast, I'll flash up a couple of our brands. These are all, relatively recent. These are primarily B2C sites, but we also do large B2B sites as well. So if you're a B2B site, also we do, as I said, pure-play and multi-channel. So why are we here? So as I said, the goal is to give you very actionable, specific steps that you can take home to your business. And when I initially started putting the talk together, I had 10 that I wanted to talk about. And then working with the panel here, we came up with a bunch more. So we've changed that. We're now going to talk about 20, which means we're going to fly through this. I think all the presentations will be online after the meeting. But again, specific, actionable, and measurable. And if it's not those things, it's a wish, not a goal. So when you evaluate us today, evaluate us by that standard. So to help me with that, I've got a great panel assembled. We've got 2 merchants here. One of whom is actually from the nonprofit space, which may be interesting to you, but a nonprofit, very mission-driven organization has just as much need for a killer e-commerce strategy to help further their mission in the world. And then we've got a more traditional retailer along with 2 gold partners, industry partners, who actually provide and can comment on some of the other techniques that we're going to talk about. So there's all kinds of buzzwords out there in the world. Mobile this, social that. It's almost this confusing welter of things, imperatives that you have to do. But when you boil it all down, there's basically 4 things you can do to maximize the value of your site. Drive traffic to your site, convert more of that traffic into purchasers, increase the average order value of those purchases, and get people to come back and buy again. If you do those things, you're firing on all 4 cylinders, you've got a great and growing business, and this is going to be the key to doubling your revenue in 6 months. So we're going to go through these in order. We're going to talk about traffic first. You can probably spend days and days talking about traffic. There's so many channels that drive traffic. You've got natural search, AdWords, affiliates, email marketing, social these days, in-store, shopping engines, and all the rest. So this brings up a really important point, and this is technique number 1, which is you have to benchmark yourself, because a theme of this talk is going to be you have to find the low-hanging fruit and go after that, and it's going to be different for everybody's businesses. So this is a really important point that I'm going to emphasize over and over again. Here's a table that you can look at I don't expect you to absorb the whole thing, but this is average performance across the entire e-commerce landscape for 2011. And on the left here, we've got the, well, actually, I guess it's on the, yeah, it is on the left of the slide. We've got all the different channels that traffic might come through, and you'll see that the conversion rates for these different channels are very different. So, for example, social media has a very low conversion rate, but somebody who's coming directly to your site has a very high conversion rate. Email marketing, which Ross is going to talk about, very high conversion rates for those. So again, the point is benchmark, know what you're shooting for, find your own low-hanging fruit. So to kick us off on talking about traffic, I'd like to introduce Chris Fenwick. Chris is the e-commerce director for 10,000 Villages. They are the world's largest and oldest fair trade organization. In fact, their founder started the whole fair trade concept right after World War II when they got going. They import and sell handcrafted items from thousands of artisans all over the developing world. I think about 130 or more artisan co-ops and from about 38 different countries. So Chris is responsible for all the e-commerce operations as well as customer service and all kinds of stuff like that. So Chris, SEO is a big topic for you. You launched your Magento site and so forth, and then as soon as it was live, you realized you needed to focus on SEO. So how did you go about that?
Well, we went out and we hired an independent firm to do an SEO audit, and I would highly recommend this if you're going from a pre-existing site that has a history to a new Magento platform. We have tens of thousands of dynamic pages. Your best SEO efforts might not be enough. So get an independent audit and then get busy making those changes right away.
I think a key point is you hear that Magento is great for SEO. What that means is it creates very well-structured sites, but you still have to go in there and actually make sure that your keywords and what you're putting in your heading tags and all the rest are correct, and an independent audit will help you do that, and pretty detailed information.
Very detailed.
Yeah, so I'm showing a couple things on the slide. You can see we're actually getting down to CSS and JavaScript and all kinds of good stuff. So just to keep you on the spot here, Chris, another technique that you have is sort of banking the traffic for the future with checkout.
Right, so we want to make sure that we capture as many names as we can, many emails as we can as people go through the site. So there's an auto-on checkbox as you go through the checkout process, and you actually have to uncheck it to not be added to our list. So there's still that ability for the customer to do that, but we want to make sure we get as many as we can.
Do you know what percentage are actually leaving themselves on your list?
I don't know.
Okay, but probably have a sense that it's working for you.
It definitely works.
Okay. Now, another great technique, we're up to 4 already, so we're going boop, boop, boop. So Adam here from Smiley Cookie, you were in a great campaign with Living Social.
Yeah, so we're a 63-year-old regional brand. When we went online, we were saying, how do we get national exposure fast and not spend a ton of money to do it? So we worked with Living Social to do a daily deal. We initially did a regional deal with that in September and sold 1,100 vouchers. And then we came back and did a national deal in December, which features one of the national deals. We sold 5,500 vouchers, but our site traffic went from 1,500 people to 30,000 people in one day.
Okay.
You can see that curve stayed like that. Not only did we expose people to the site, but we got a lot of people to join our email list that didn't buy the deal.
Yeah, so even a little bit of economics in there, but the value of the names you collect are probably invaluable. So. Okay, so Ross, I want to toss this one at you. So you're going to have some of the arcane terms that these guys are going to hear. So this is technique number 5. Could you unpack for us the dreaded modal pop-up?
So from a pain perspective...
Hey Ross, you need a mic there.
So from a pain perspective, average subscribe rate on a website is about 1%. So you're subscribing about 1% of your average uniques. These two merchants implemented this thing that we're calling a modal pop-up, and increase their subscribes significantly. In fact, Adam was able to double his list size in 1 year's time by implementing sort of a CSS pop-up.
Say that again.
Double his list size. So this is true to what we wanted to deliver today. Is in doubling your revenue is doubling your list size. Okay. This is working like gangbusters, and these guys can.
Well, let's do that. So Adam and Chris, you're both doing this. What do you think?
Oh, well, we did it about 15 days ago, and we've added 1,000 new names just in 15 days. So
It's one of the best things we do. We had somebody come in and say, this is horrible, it's not about the user experience. I was like, whatever else comes out of your mouth, I don't listen to. This is phenomenal.
Okay, well, I'm going to show up an interesting chart. This is not Apple's stock performance. This is actually a pop quiz. Can you see where Smiley Cookie started their modal pop-up? So the red column right there is the modal conversions right there. You can see they're just phenomenal. So anyway,
It's one of the easiest things that you'll do to deliver the most results.
right.
Yeah, you can go get a HeadWorks, has a pop-up module on Connect. You can have it up and running this afternoon.
Yeah, and you know, you keep hearing about the Magento ecosystem. There you go. Excuse me, HeadWorks, one of the best developers out there of extensions. They have all kinds of great extensions. We use them all the time, and as Adam says, go download it, you know, come up with some creative, and away you go. I'm going to move quickly past this last one, just for my own grin, just because Cortec does work with multi-channel resellers. How many of you are merchants with some kind of physical store in your mix? Okay, fair enough. Okay, so I don't know if QR codes is going to be the solution to the future, but the concept of coordinating your online, offline purchasing environment and experience, having a good user experience across all that is essential. It's going to become more and more important. And so QR codes is one way. I think Chris has rolled it out in a couple stores.
We've rolled it out to about half of our stores about a week ago, and about 35 stores. So we're anxious to see those results.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're done with traffic. There's obviously, like I say, lots more we could talk about. Let's move on to conversion rate now. So you got lots of traffic coming at your site. You got to convert them into buyers. So you don't want drive-bys. You want people to actually come back. Again, we could have a whole discussion on this. And in fact, there is a session this afternoon in this room devoted just to conversion. I think at 2:30. Is that right? Yeah. So 2:30 back in this room. More about conversion. We're just going to touch on the surface. I want to hit my theme again here of remembering to benchmark. These are conversion rates. There's a company out there called FireClick that basically has created an index that looks at different vertical industries and compares a whole bunch of statistics across the board for them. So there's all kinds of ways to do your benchmarking against your peers. I picked two: fashion and retail, and software, right? And so you may see up there, okay, you know, the difference between a fashion and retail overall is 1.5% conversion on fashion, 2.5% on software. But think about that. That's almost twice the conversion rate. So for any visit to a software site right now, they're getting twice the value from that visit. Now, that doesn't mean if you're apparel you can hit that, but it means that if you're going to try and increase your conversion rate, if you're below 1% as a fashion and apparel place, you need to, you know, get in business here. So I'm going to toss this next one to Adam Gollum, who is the e-commerce director for Smiley Cookie. He told you a little bit about them, but like Chris, he's responsible for absolutely everything having to do with their e-commerce operations. They also have a feel-good part of their business. You guys donate hundreds of thousands of cookies to various good causes. So who says software can't change the world? But Adam has a dual role. He's also by night a master baker. You can see him pulling some very large cookies out of the oven there. And are any of your cookies going to be around?
They were at Bar Camp yesterday.
Okay, all right. So Adam, you are, if I dare say it, a testing zealot. So
Yeah.
what do you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we all spend in this room tons of time driving traffic, and I came out of retail and to find out that like 3% of people buy and 97% leave, it really frustrated me. So we really implemented a whole testing process. We are always testing our site, always looking to beat what the existing thing is. We use a tool called Visual Website Optimizer. It's about $150. It's one piece of JavaScript. You throw it on your site. You don't need your programmers, and you can get testing this afternoon. It's really great. It's a WYSIWYG editor, and it allows you to go in there and say, what if we do this? What if we do that? We always are running tests on our site. We focus on really the pain points. Once somebody gets in the cart, that shows intent they're going to buy, and we say, okay, what can we do to get them to get to checkout and get to that completion of the sale? And really, we really focus on things that might work for us, might not work for other people. I tell my team, whatever everybody else might zig and do this, that doesn't mean that's going to work for us. Really, each site's going to be a little bit different.
Now, to that point, I'd love to have you and Chris arm wrestle, because Chris says the #1 conversion tactic she had was free shipping. But I think did you find that didn't work?
Yeah, we found that for our brand, is that free shipping every day doesn't work. It actually negatively impacted conversion rate. And part of it was you can only have so many cookies. I mean, to get to the threshold to make money, you had to get like 4 dozen cookies. So I think that's part of it. But free shipping works as a promotional offer, which I will talk about.
That's just a perfect example of how you got to find your own low-hanging fruit. Something that works for Chris may not work for you. Something that works for Adam maybe doesn't. So keep testing. That's a great point. And just to show you some of the results here. So Adam talked about this visual editor. So this is a very simple example, but maybe Adam, you can tell us.
Yeah. So we looked at our header message, what we were communicating to our customers. We came up with I think 6 variations. And really, you just drop them in. It's sort of like Magento 2, if you saw that. It's even easier than that. And we all bet as a team, and we all thought it was going to be one thing, and it ended up being something completely different. Actually, most of us came in dead last. And the winning piece was order today, ships next business day. That was the most compelling message to our customers, and resulted in a 41% increase in conversion rate, just by changing a simple message.
So say that again.
41% increase in conversion rate.
We're talking huge numbers here for very little effort. As Adam says, you can go, get a license to visual website. Well, first of all, Magento itself has A/B testing built in. So if you want to take the absolute simplest route, use Magento's native functionality. You want to take it the next step, use a tool like Visual Website Optimizer. There's other ones out there. You literally kind of dragging and dropping things, and you'll find if you do this religiously, you might find something that really impacts your business. So. Okay, we're up to technique 8. We're jamming along here. So I'd like to toss this one at Neil Hamilton. So Neil, one of the things that you harp on and are zealot about is a personalized shopping experience. So maybe you could tell us what that means.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So another great thing to hit conversion rates. Obviously, you've got returning customers who you may know, so you can maybe retarget them with appropriate products. But like Alan said, many customers have never been to a site before, so they're already telling you things they're looking for in their search behaviour with using referring keywords and what have you. If your pages of your site, when they first arrive, can reflect the things they're looking for, you're going to see around a 35% increase in conversions is what we're measuring from making pages dynamically aware of what the actual visitor is looking for.
So again, I just want to emphasize, these are huge numbers for very little effort. So someone types in stethoscopes, and when they come to your site, you're showing them stethoscopes and maybe some adjacent products as well. So, as opposed to random stuff. Sounds obvious, do it. You're going to have these really significant impacts on your conversion rate. So, another thing is just how the site performs. And we're talking about raw speed now. We're talking about that subjective experience that users have when they're loading pages and waiting for things to happen and so forth. We heard this morning, it's absolutely true, Magento is a serious application. It requires serious developers who are going to install it for you and make it hum. You've got to get it on the right server platform. You've got to optimize it. You've got to do all kinds of caching correctly and so forth. But you do all those things, and you can make it perform really well. However, you may want to go even further. And so Adam, you found something and you implemented that.
Yeah, so we weren't ecstatic with our site speed. It was definitely one of the faster Magento sites, but it still wasn't at our standard. We heard the statistic from Amazon. For every second Amazon can make their site load faster, it's a 10% lift in revenue, which for them, that's $1 billion probably in their pocket. So we spent a lot of time in Magento optimizing our site, getting better, but we also partnered with a company called Yoda. It's a hybrid between a website optimization and a content delivery network. It's definitely brought our site down. We made another change this morning. We've got a 30% increase in speed this morning. And it was like light years to us as a team. We're like, whoa, it's going faster. But it's definitely, you can see our results we had from speeding up our site. We saw noticeable impact in our sales. Mike, you want to show the?
Yeah, let me get to the next slide.
Yep. So we saw an 18% increase in average order value from before having a site at a certain speed to now. 30% increase in people spending on the site, and the step that we spend a lot of time on is a decrease in bounce rate. People that just came, hit the first page and left. We saw that drop 10%.
Yeah, so again, big numbers. And just that Amazon statistic is amazing. So you can play it in the positive direction. Every 1 second improvement in performance, 10% uplift, but of course the opposite's true, right? Every 1 second slower, 10% down. So again, whatever you can do to make those page loads faster, here's a very specific thing you can do. If you're working with a competent system integration partner, this would be a great topic to bring up with them. Okay, so we're on to our next one. We've got lots of traffic going. We've got people buying. They're at your add to cart, and we want them to add either more things or more expensive things to the cart. So cross-sell and upsell. So to address that, I'm going to lob the first one at Neil Hamilton. He's the CEO of Predictive Intent. So we've gone through our two merchants on the panel. We'll now talk with some of the Magento industry partners. And so Predictive Intent basically is all about creating that personalized shopping experience. So through on-site merchandising, recommendation engines, all that kind of stuff. Magento has some of that natively, so you can create related products and so forth. But this has serious PhD level math, all boiled down into a simple Magento extension that just installs like any other extension. So Neil, if I look at my different types of pages, there's different areas of the page that I might want to try optimizing, and I'm going to see different results for each of those.
Yeah, completely. So our kind of view on the world when it comes to merchandising, beyond Magento's standard merchandising capabilities, there is effectively anywhere you have a block, within Magento, be it any of these pages here, category pages, etc. 404 pages, good place to put some merchandising, because you're going to get traffic on there. Overall, this is all about targeting the individual user. So you have segmentation from Magento's core platform, but by taking into account maybe the attributes of products that people are actually looking at. So for clothing stores, size is a relevant thing. So if someone's declaring that they're interested in size 10 as an attribute of product, then maybe for the remainder of the session or for the next 30 seconds show only products that are in stock that are that size. So being smart about your merchandising and deciding behaviourally what should be presented, but then maybe cross-cutting out business rules is really about kind of the personalised merchandising experience.
And so if we look at, we've got 3 pages here as an example, a home page, a listing page, a product detail page. If we just kind of flip them, each one compounds in terms of the conversion that you're getting. And now, these look like small numbers, 2.8%, 4.1%, and so forth. Yeah. But there's some subtlety behind that, maybe good.
Yeah, so these figures are related to the contribution to revenue, so the actual uplift. And again, like Adam said, split testing, this kind of stuff, very important to make sure that the pages are, technologies like ours, for example, are actually working and giving you some return. But yeah, quite rightly, on the volumes that some of the pages are doing, a few percent is serious bucks. And by best practices, you can hit that goal of kind of doubling revenue in 6 months.
Okay, excellent. And then, Chris, you have to pull your head up from your notes there. So,
taking notes.
That's right. No conducting business on the panel here.
I'm learning things too.
So another one is promotions, right? So people, depending again on what your business is, some of you may have a business where this works, some of you don't. Great way to find out is just to try it. So there's a bewildering types of promotions you can run, BOGOs, which Chris will talk about, free shipping, percentages off, flash sales, and so forth. So why don't you tell us what you did with BOGOs?
So at certain times of the year, we sell a lot of jewelry. So at Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, we do buy one, get one at 50% off. And we see about a 50% increase during those promotions sales.
Okay, so BOGO, buy one, get one.
Get one.
And it could be buy one, get one free, buy one, get one half off.
Correct.
Okay. And then you did a great promotion, Adam, with another actual thing you can go get on Magento Connect, Zizio.
Yeah, so we use the Zizio daily deal module, social deal module. We run a daily deal every week. It's a 48-hour sale. We take a popular item, discount it significantly, use email marketing in our site to drive traffic to it. It's one of our best things every week. It's a guarantee. We know every week that Thursday, Friday sales going to be a huge sales driver.
And you'd what call that, maybe a mini flash sale?
Mini flash sale, yeah. And the module plugs in. When we had plugged it in, and an hour later we were up and running, doing it. It's unbelievable. Okay,
great. It sounds like according to you, you could double your revenues in a day.
It depends how aggressive you want to be with discount.
One other idea that works is seasonal promotions, and so Chris, you did a neat one.
Well, this seasonal promotion is actually every 4 years because it's a leap day sale. So we offer 29% on the 29th. We actually used the Magento event built-in functionality that gave the nice banner at the top that created the urgency. And we did in about 6 hours, we did $13,000 worth of revenue. So it was a great driver for us on that day.
Okay, awesome. And then finally, not to keep picking on you, Chris, but you've got this other great one, impulse purchases at checkout.
Right, so we just initiated this with Predictive Intent. So we have physical brick and mortar stores, and in a POS system in stores, you can have those impulse items, those gum, those low price items that you just pick up and add to your order. So we wanted something like that on e-commerce, and that's what we've done here. The nice thing about this block is that when you click on the red button, it doesn't take you to that product page. It just quickly adds it to the cart. So we're taking advantage of that impulse buying.
Yeah, and that's a key point to make is usually when you click on a product button, think about even how Amazon works. You go back to that product page, right? And they've taken you away from that streamlined checkout process. This is like adding gum to your cart. You click it, it's in your cart, right? So great technique there. Okay, we're almost home. So we've got traffic coming to the site, we're converting it, we're selling them as much as we possibly can, and now we're going to try and get them to come back. And so there's a bunch of great techniques for that. So to kick this one off, I'd like to introduce Ross Kramer. He's the CEO of ListTrack. They're one of the leading e-marketing companies. They are also a Magento industry partner of long standing, and they also have created a Magento extension that plugs into Magento just like any other extension, and then hooks up to their service and gives you all kinds of neat integrations. And Ross is working with both Adam and Chris on a bunch of stuff, so let's talk about that. So green marketing here, recycling creative.
There you go.
What's up with that?
So from a merchant perspective, when you look at your email marketing budget, a lot of your budget goes to creating these beautiful pieces of art that you send out, and sometimes it's a one-time use thing. Well, we brought our merchants the concept, we call it second pass, which is really resending this content to non-openers with a different subject line a few days later. Okay. And it's had a really dramatic impact directionally across all of our retail customers.
Okay, so this is the idea. Somebody's purchased, I send them a piece of email, here's the subject line, last chance for ground shipping by Easter, and you get 333 clicks.
And then Adam resent the same creative.
Okay.
The system did it automatically.
Okay, and it says, hurry, last chance for ground shipping by Easter. And what happened?
He got then, for the whole campaign, 37% of his orders came from that second pass email, okay, which he paid, dollars for.
Say that again.
37% of his total revenue came from something that took him, how long did it take you to create that subject line?
And it's a checkbox.
Yeah, it was a one-check checkbox. Now, if you're on a different ESP, you might have to export the data and bring it in Excel, things like that. But it's still cheaper than having your designer redesign a new piece of creative.
Yeah.
And for a lot of the merchants, especially emerging merchants, we say you're probably not mailing enough. So this is a nice way to recycle an asset that you've already paid for and get additional revenues out of that. And you can see it here, and Chris has done the same. We've got an example for what she did. Again, similar situation. If you want to set it up, Michael.
Yeah. So sorry, that was my cue. So the initial subject line, a Valentine's sale, okay, and then a couple days later.
Yeah, probably 2-3 days later.
2-3 days later, automatically, because it's scheduled, goes out. Same piece of email, but the subject line says last day to receive in time for Valentine's Day, and you get another, 610 clicks off of the same, piece of creative that you did.
Yeah, and what's amazing is around holiday, when consumers are really jammed to be making those purchases, the second pass emails start to outperform the first pass ones because it's got an urgency or a scarcity clause in the subject line.
Right. Okay, so great. All right, moving right along, technique number 15 here. We've talked a lot about personalized content, making that experience very personalized. Once somebody spends some time on your site, you're going to start to know things about them, right? You're going to start to know what size what shirt they are. You're certainly going to know are they male or female. So, Neil, if you could talk a little bit about how we incorporate that into some kind of marketing that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So really following on from what Ross is saying, when you're putting great creative together for these email campaigns, for example, you've already learned a great deal about that customer. They bought something, there's some attributes again associated with the thing they purchased, maybe there's a time they did this, So again, you're going to suggest a product to follow-up purchase, maybe associating with a discount voucher or something, you might as well make the product relevant rather than what you think are going to be right for the customer. Skew the products based on what they actually purchased. So again, by dynamically injecting into the email templates products that are in stock relating to them, another quick win. So if you get them to open, you're going to get a better click-through rate from the fact that content is relevant.
And that's something that Neil and Ross are working on together, so I encourage you to talk to them after the show. I'm not going to dwell on this slide, but again, if you just cast your eyes over it, you're seeing very large percentages again, and all of these things compound, so this is really great. Ross, another obscure name for you, social proofing your email. What's that all about?
Yeah, so as a merchant, there's a number of levers and switches that you can kind of dial in from a human psychology perspective to try to drive demand. And social proof is one of those. And, we're really kind of leveraging the aftermarket value of some of the user-generated content that you're already creating on your site in terms of ratings and reviews. And as we know, Magento's got a pretty robust ratings and review system. Two quick case studies here. Lazy Boy was able to increase their click-through rates on their emails by simply putting the star ratings on their products. They said, we don't believe you. I said, well, test it. And they've done it ever since. And then another neat item, we're going to talk about cart abandonment emails in a little bit, but an IR 500 merchant, Vintage Tub, is using their ratings and reviews inside of cart abandonment emails. And what we found is when an email includes the merchandising, the rating, and the review inside the email, it gets 50% higher demand than those that don't. So it's a great way to really leverage maybe some user-generated content that you've already got.
And to that point, another idea is ask for those reviews.
Yeah, so here's a Magento Enterprise customer, Super Supplements. We just rolled out a post-purchase campaign for them, and they're getting a 17% conversion rate on this email here that's just asking for the review. We know that most of your reviews are going to come from the post-purchase ask. What we didn't know was how well the email was going to convert. So recommendation and some encouragement here.
Okay, technique 17. I'm getting the red light blinking over here. So Ross mentioned cart abandonment email, and again, this is something that you're doing that both Chris and Adam are doing, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is another great way of leveraging the traffic that you've already got. Cart abandonment remarketing is akin to end caps if you run a grocery store or something like that, and could probably allow the merchants to sort of tell their own stories about how well cart abandonment.
So this is all about taking a second bite of the apple there, and Adam and Chris, how's this working out?
It works great for us. So we follow up with people 3 times based on when they abandoned. It's about 5% of our sales right now. It's been really good. We're trying to see if we can make it even better. Sales growth.
Actually, our experience has been about the same, so very successful.
5% of your sales are coming from remarketing to people who left the cart in the first time. Okay, all right. So there was 18. There are 2 more, but let's review them real fast. So this is a speed reading test. I'm not going to read it to you because you can probably all grab it. I see people with cameras, so I'll let you take that picture. So anyway, the point is, all of these things are very specific, actionable, they're measurable. We gave you the numbers, 35%, blah, 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 blah. Big numbers. Again, that point of benchmark yourself so that you know where you want to focus. You may be doing great at conversion, so go focus on increasing your average order value, whatever it may be. So the challenge there, as I keep saying, is really to find your own low-hanging fruit. So one great technique is to be opportunistic. Technique number 18. So all of our merchants up here on the stage are offering something. So 20% off at 10,000 villages. Use the coupon code IMAGINE. Similar for Smiley Cookies, right? Same coupon code. Neil is offering, if you, email after the show, right? Ross is saving his because he's all about aftermarketing, so expect an email from Ross. And then Cortec, our request is, as you know, there's 3 sites that are up for most innovative site of the year. We're one of those. Chris's site. We're very proud of that. So take your yellow chip and toss it in the right cup. That's our opportunistic one. So finally, technique number 20. Enjoy the show. So we're going to open it up for questions and answers.